Okay, today we're making some homemade bread with some simple, unbleached, all-purpose flour. First, I'm going to start by using this Rapid Rise instant yeast packet. Buy these at your local grocery store. You take the yeast packet, you dump it in a bowl, and then you dump in 2¼ cups of warm water. You don't want the water too hot or too cold, ideally between 110 and 115 degrees Fahrenheit. And you want the yeast completely dissolved into the warm water. And it's optional if you want to add some sort of sugar or vegan sweetener, you don't have to. Next, we're going to add some regular salt, 1 tablespoon of salt. Mix that into the warm water and yeast. Next, we're going to add some of this organic raw agave. It contains sugar, obviously. Put in 3 tablespoons of that. Mix it in. The yeast will feed off of that. You can buy just a standard yeast, but the rapid or fast-acting yeast responds more quickly and will puff up faster. You don't have to wait as long. I'm going to add in gradually a couple cups of flour. And my daughter's going to help me make this today. So start with 3 cups. Get that blended into the water and ingredients. Then we're going to add a 4th cup of flour. And then we'll add a 5th cup of flour. And then we'll add one final 6th cup of flour. So 6 cups of flour altogether. And if it looks a little bit too dry where it's getting too flaky, you can always add a tiny bit of warm water. So next we're going to flour a clean, dry surface. You start to knead the dough on that surface. I'm just going to pour it out of the bowl. And just turn it on this flat surface. And you want to knead it until it's smooth and elastic and stretchy. It takes anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes to do that. It'll have kind of a rubbery, doughy, stretchy consistency, like a rubber band. And my daughter's going to help me with this step as well. If it starts to stick to the countertop or your hands, just add a tiny bit more flour. And just fold it over and smush it down and fold it over some more and smush it down some more. And then we're going to take this and we're going to place it in a greased bowl. And I'm just going to use some plant-based butter to lightly grease the inside of the bowl. And I'm going to put like a Ziploc bag over my hand. I found that's a quick, easy, simple way to grease the inside of the bowl. You don't need a lot. That's good. All right, and then we're going to turn it into a big ball and then throw it in the bowl. Going to pat the top of it with that little bit of butter on the bag. Cover it with a kitchen towel, a clean kitchen towel. I have this warming center on my stovetop, so I'm going to turn that on low for a little bit, a few minutes, because you want to place this in a warm area while it rises and let it rise for about 90 minutes. While it's rising, I'm going to go ahead and grease the inside of 2 bread pans. So you can see how much it's risen over a 90-minute period. So again, we're going to flour this area, dump the dough out onto the floured area. And then just a tiny bit more flour. We're going to turn it a few more times and then divide it in half so we have 2 balls of bread dough, one for each of those bread pans that we have. So I'm just simply dividing the dough into two sections. Pretty easy. And you kind of shape it into a bread loaf shape. There we go. So I only have one loaf pan and one regular Pyrex pan, but I find it still works fine. So I'm just going to kind of elongate this out into more of like a loaf of bread shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll take the second Pyrex pan here. Remember, we already lightly greased these earlier. And we'll take this ball and kind of stretch it out into a loaf shape in here. And that's about good enough there. Next step, we're going to place it on that warming center and cover both of them with our clean kitchen towel for about 30 or 40 minutes. Let them rise. Look at what we got. See, they both swelled up and rised, so that's great. I'm going to try and experiment with this one and see if I can cut it to get that fancy design on top. I don't know how it's going to work out. We'll see. And then we baked them in the oven here for about 30 minutes on 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see they're hard when you knock on them. And just have a light golden brown finish to the outside of the crust. So let's see what we got. So after about 30 minutes of baking at 375, let it cool down for 5 or 10 minutes out of the oven. We'll take our bread knife and slice it up. Yeah, that looks good. Nice thing about making homemade bread is it makes your house smell really good. And you can put whatever topping you want on this, eat it plain, put vegan butter, jam, preserves, whatever you like. I hope this video helps you. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, and thanks for watching.